Good afternoon. Hope you're all having a great day. I'm excited to come and talk with you today about innovation in defense and some exciting changes that are just around the corner. Before looking at defense, I want to talk about inflection points. This is the point where things seem to be most desperate for an organization, but somehow old thinking is defeated and a new course of action is charted, leading to wild success. I want to share one such story that's particularly relevant. In 2004, LEGO was near bankruptcy. Video games were stealing mindshare from physical toys. Both demand and profits were falling, and the outlook was bleak. In a radical move, LEGO's new CEO outsourced creative control of LEGO products to hardcore LEGO customers rather than continuing to rely on the company's own designers. What resulted was a renaissance for the toy maker, driven by a wide range of new products, many aimed at adults. LEGO came roaring back and is now one of the most profitable of all toy makers. This was truly an inflection point for LEGO, and what is also relevant for our conversation today is that the CEO looked outside the company for solutions. Very radical thinking for the CEO of a traditional 60-year-old toy company. Is the defense establishment today the LEGO of 2004? Well, it could be. Let's look at defense relative to what's been happening in the broader technology market. To be honest, we're behind. We're way behind. And the gap seems to be growing. To begin with, the failure rate of defense IT projects is staggering, which puts our soldiers at unnecessary risk and wastes valuable taxpayer money. Next, delivery times are far too long. Often capabilities are obsolete before they even make it into the hands of end users. If defense was a business, we'd be out of business. What about mobile, social, and cloud computing? How much of these are being used in the typical defense environment? And finally, when projects are successful on the national level, they are often not fit for purpose in multinational operations due to a lack of interoperability. Not good for Europe, where almost any military engagement will be multinational. Clearly, things must change. We need radical new thinking, and we must look outside of our traditional defense establishments for solutions. Otherwise, defense risks becoming irrelevant and giving our adversaries the advantage. So, when are we going to get our own inflection point in defense? And what might that inflection point look like? Personally, I think the inflection point is coming soon. Things are changing. Europe is poised to take more responsibility for its own defense. Let's take a quick survey of some of those changes. First, in July 2016, the EU signed a joint declaration with NATO for stronger cooperation in defense R&D, improved interoperability, and more multilateral projects. And just a few weeks ago, the EU formalized their ambition to deepen defense cooperation through PESCO, with the aim of jointly developing defense capabilities and making them available for EU military operations. And earlier in June of this year, the EU announced the European Defence Fund, which includes €500 million per year in EU money for multinational defence R&D, with the explicit aim of reducing duplication in defence spending. No doubt, defence is a growing industry in Europe. This is all great. We have new ambition levels with PESCO and the NATO-EU declaration, and a new funding line with the European Defence Fund. But the question remains, how will we execute? Practically speaking, how will NATO and the EU cooperate at a technical level given their political constraints and restrictive procurement practices? Practically speaking, how will EU nations and PESCO come together and agree on their common problems? Practically speaking, how will we strengthen the European defense industrial base by involving more small and medium firms? And, practically speaking, how will we use defense as an engine for growth by promoting the dual use of technologies for defense and non-defense purposes? So I ask again, how will we execute? Well, this is a problem we've been thinking about for several years, and I think we have a compelling answer. Introducing the Defense Innovation Greenhouse, a multinational, nonprofit innovation, collaboration, and best practices center that aims to address these exact issues. When you leave today, I want you to at least remember these 3 things about the DIG. 1. The DIG is a nonprofit organization that provides a multinational, neutral environment for innovation and capability development. We are apolitical and vendor neutral, with the aim of accelerating delivery by reducing bureaucracy and reducing overhead. 2. At the DIG, we are creating a sharing economy in defense, ranging from our multinational open source code repository that encourages sharing and reuse of software assets, to our non-classified, curated military sample datasets, and to our unique processes and facilities specifically designed for multinational cooperation in R&D and capability development. And finally, 3. The DIG is dedicated to growth. We want strong growth both for our SMEs and traditional defense firms. We want to open a channel that connects SMEs to defense and aids in the building of consortia with large companies. So with this in mind, let's take a closer look at the Defense Innovation Greenhouse. The DIG is a nonprofit organization, allowing us to maintain neutrality and earn the trust of both industry and governments. We measure ourselves based on our impact, not on our ability to generate profits. The DIG is a membership-centric organization. Our Membership Advisory Board plays an important role in determining the direction of the organization. You can also think of us like a 5-star all-inclusive resort. We charge one annual fee, and nearly everything is included in this fee. We do this to reduce bureaucracy and enhance agility for the rapid development of capabilities. The DIG aims to help MODs achieve speed to market and to keep pace with rapid advances in industry. We have a strong focus on problems where we can go from concept to customer benefit in 12 months or less. The DIG will be hosted in a unique physical location. Our facility will be non-classified to make it easy for SMEs and academia to solve problems for defense. Our aim is to achieve a diverse mix of culture, backgrounds, and mindset in a creative and social environment in order to push the boundaries of innovation. Finally, our headquarters is ideally located about 8 minutes by car from the NATO Communications and Information Agency in The Hague, where NATO undertakes the majority of its IT capability development, thus enabling enhanced collaboration and knowledge sharing for EU and NATO projects. We're also just 26 minutes from the Amsterdam airport by train. You can't get more convenient. Ultimately, we hope to open offices throughout Europe and North America to reach a much larger cross-section of SMEs. I don't have time to go in depth on all of the offerings we will provide, but I can list the most important ones. First, we start with biannual Defense Innovation Conferences. This is where end users and innovation leads from nations can meet and identify, agree, and prioritize their common problems. The Innovation Bridge is an online platform that national members use to refine their problems. Industry members then can use the Innovation Bridge secure portal to browse the agreed problems and confidentially propose solutions. The Defense Concurrent Design Facility helps us achieve stakeholder alignment and produce solid approaches to solve complex problems. We are partnering with the European Space Agency to adapt their CDF for defense use. Once we are done, we will freely share our models with any MOD that is a member of the DIG. The Defense Capability Quick Start environment is a virtual environment to maximize the sharing of resources for defense communities. The Defense Continuous Integration and Experimentation environment, we call it DIXI, is a permanent online environment for continuous integration, experimentation, and interoperability testing. It's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And finally, the DIG Defense Marketplace, which is an Amazon.com style website where organizations can list their defense products and defense customers can discover them, thus making it easier for defense buyers to quickly find what they need to satisfy their end users now instead of satisfying them years from now. But the most important part of the DIG ecosystem is our community, our membership. We are truly #stronger working together. Before I wrap up, I want to take a quick look at just one example of how the DIG works. Who here in the audience today uses WhatsApp? Well, it turns out our military loves WhatsApp too. In fact, they love it a bit too much. They love it so much that it's now being used to support current operations by some soldiers. Even senior defense leaders, 2- and 3-star generals, are using it to collaborate. WhatsApp, owned by Facebook. Does anyone see a problem with this? There are currently 2 possible approaches we could use to fix this problem. First, we could have NATO develop a STANAG, that's NATO speak for a standardization agreement, and then contract with industry to build standards-compliant solutions. They might be interoperable, but they would take far too long to deliver, cost a lot of money, and probably be obsolete by the time they're released. The other approach, and the one that is happening today, is that nations can individually build their own versions of WhatsApp, and I can almost guarantee you none of them will be interoperable, forcing end users to go back and use the Facebook solution they're using now. Not a good answer to the problem. There's now a third approach with the DIG's Multinational WhatsApp Federation project. Our approach starts with the rapid establishment of a community standard for federation. Next, we build an open source reference system that implements that standard. This reference system will then be hosted in DIXI, our Defense Continuous Integration and Test Environment. National labs, large companies, and SMEs can use this environment to develop and test their own capabilities. If a capability can federate with the reference system, it should be able to federate with any other system that implements the community standard. Ultimately, DIG members can advertise their system through the DIG's Defense Marketplace. This will give their products excellent visibility with defense customers throughout Europe and in North America. As you can see, the benefits of the DIG approach for this project are clear: interoperable by design, access to shared code and assets that lead to lower costs, agile and fast, and as a bonus, providing outstanding access to the defense market. I want to close today by reiterating the 3 points that I want you to take away from this session about the DIG. 1, the DIG is a nonprofit organization that provides a multinational, neutral environment for innovation and capability development. 2, at the DIG we are creating a sharing economy in defense. To quote Leonard Nimoy, the miracle is this: the more we share, the more we have. 3, the DIG is dedicated to growth of our SMEs and also growth for traditional defense firms. Speaking of SMEs, what we are trying to achieve in the DIG would be impossible without the dedicated support of several very special SMEs that are co-investing their valuable time to make the DIG a success, including the INSIM Group, who will be designing and operating the Defense Capability Quick Start environment, and DIXI. The RHEA Group, who is working with the DIG and the European Space Agency to adapt ESA's concurrent design facility for use in the defense context. Eratos Systems, who is supporting the development of the DIG's Defense Marketplace and will be taking a leading role in the Multinational WhatsApp Federation project. ERAC Innovation, who is kindly supporting our effort to apply for an EU grant. And finally, ArtDcom, for helping us in the huge challenge of stakeholder engagement and evangelizing the vision of the DIG to all within NATO and EU nations. Because without members, the DIG wouldn't exist. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope to have the chance to meet you all later at the eESTi event. Please approach me if you are interested in joining the DIG, learning more about our Multinational WhatsApp Federation project, or if you want to explore the potential of opening a DIG satellite office in your nation. I'd like to also thank ANU and the Estonian Defense Industry Association for inviting me to speak today.